She almost sent my husband to the other world because of an inheritance she didn't receive.
I'm Emma, from Minnesota. We married in Stillwater, on the St. Croix, under a white tent that smelled like peonies and rain. My husband, Daniel, edits video as a hobby, weekend reels, little travel films for friends, so when the videographer promised to send the stock dump after the highlight cut, we said yes. We had no idea that folder would carry the most important audio of our lives. Before that folder, there were only suspicions and posts. Instagram stories that lasted 24 hours but lived forever in screenshots. Snapchat clips that vanished and yet somehow made it to group chats. The account belonged to my sister, Olivia. She's my only sibling, 2 years younger, loudest laugh in any room, the kind of person who can turn a brunch table into a stage. When our grandfather Walter passed, he left each of us different things. I got the Aitken cabin and a trust that would unlock when I married or turned 35, whichever came first. Olivia received a cash gift and stocks, solid, but not the cabin. She said she was happy for me. She said it a lot. She also filmed stories about people who think a certificate equals a prize, accompanied by a photo of pine trees anyone in our family could identify. I didn't want to read into it. I wanted to plan centerpieces. Daniel is steady in a way that makes rooms feel safe. He manages a production team at a regional logistics company in Minneapolis, knows the union contract by heart, keeps the coffee maker clean. He proposed on a frozen lake last January, the breath from our lips turning our yes into fog. He also knew, in broad strokes, about the cabin clause. The family all did. We didn't hide the will. We didn't celebrate it either. I figured that was enough. By May, the subtext wasn't subtle. Olivia started posting wedding diaries, not of excitement, but of comparison. Another venue pretending to be rustic luxe, translation, splinters and couture. Imagine hosting a party you can't afford without a cabin to run to. A different day, some of us have to work for our homes. Then a shot of the Aitken mailbox and a caption, "How nice to inherit a key." Our parents, Ken and Marjorie, took turns saying, "Ignore it. She's venting." They meant well. They always do. Dad builds home additions, Mom coordinates church drives and makes casseroles that taste like childhood winters. They raised us on fairness, the chore wheel on the fridge, 2 stockings with identical shapes on Christmas. But wheels don't keep chore wheels. When the RSVP count capped, Olivia volunteered to handle content for the day, stories, behind the scenes, little moments Mom would miss while directing boutonnieres. I said okay. It felt like including her. She arrived with a phone on a gimbal and a purse I'd never seen, shimmering like fish scales. The week before the wedding, I met her for coffee near Loring Park. She arrived late, slid into the booth, and said, "So, you ready to be Mrs. Lakehouse?" I laughed too loudly, like people do when they're trying to make a comment into a joke. She folded her arms. "I'm happy for you," she said, then added, "Just don't act like this is a love story if it's really a real estate story." She smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. On the day itself, she was perfect on paper. She fluffed my veil. She delivered a charming toast about childhood forts and sisters who borrow each other's sweaters. She filmed vows with a quiet hand. The only odd beat, during cocktail hour, a woman I didn't recognize, sleek dress, studio blowout, angled toward Daniel and laughed at something he barely said. Olivia hovered 5 feet away, pretending to photograph stems of eucalyptus in mason jars. Later, I asked Daniel, "Who was that?" He shrugged. "Says she's a friend of Liv's from yoga." Asked about our honeymoon, then asked again. He looked tired. She kept steering me behind the photo wall, like she needed sound quality. Weird. Still, the night ended with blue lights on the river and my mother's cheeks damp with happy tears. If there had been cracks under the tent lights, I did not see them. Then came the videos. A month after the wedding, the videographer sent a link, folders labeled prep_audio, ceremony_can_be, reception_hall_left. Daniel poured coffee, opened reception_hall_left, and pressed play. The camera showed us first dance, then panned to the head table. You could almost smell the buttercream through the pixels. The audio picked up voices that didn't belong to the dance. 2 voices, 3 feet left of the lens. My sisters and the woman with the perfect blowout. Did he take the bait? The woman asked, soft. Not yet, Olivia said. He's cautious. Keep it light. We just need one shot that looks not great. Compromising? Suggestive. A clink of glass. A laugh. If he looks like he's looking, she'll fall apart. They'll split. These clauses, a pause. He'll be out. She'll cool off. We'll rediscuss fairness. Everyone wins. Everyone wins. Daniel pressed pause, then leaned back very slowly, as if any sudden movement would break the table. I thought I was being paranoid, he said. I replayed the last month in my head, the yoga friends steer toward the photo wall, Olivia's stories about people who take shortcuts, a text from an unknown Minneapolis area code the week after the wedding. It was fun meeting you. Drink sometime, no cameras? Daniel had showed me, we'd shrugged, we'd blocked. I hadn't mentioned it to Olivia. I hadn't wanted to make problems. Now, the problems made themselves. I didn't sleep that night. I lay awake listening to the street outside, the murmurs of the city in July, and thought about microphones. I thought about how the camera had been meant for our vows but had caught a different kind of promise, the kind 2 people make when they think music is cover and a lens is pointed at the dance floor. In the morning, we opened another folder, cocktail_mic_roaming. There she was, Olivia, laughing with a bridesmaid, then pivoting, mid-sentence, to the woman with the blowout. Timing's tight, the woman murmured. If he's not biting, we need a plan B. Then stage something, Olivia said. Nothing dramatic. Just believable. Ash is on standby. Ash? Friend. Lives for theatrics. If someone accidentally trips in his arms near the back hall, it'll read on camera like a hug. They were talking about the hallway behind the photo wall. The one with the coat rack and the doors to the service alley. The one where the mic caught a burst of laughter, quick footsteps, and Daniel saying, "I'm married," in the tone of a person trying to make a boundary sound like a joke. We kept watching. The file timestamp moved. The audio shifted. Different voices, clinks, a burst of applause. Then Olivia again, lower, edged with impatience. If this doesn't work, there are other ways to make a point. He's careful, fine. But she's sentimental. She'll react. We just need the spark. I could feel my stomach tighten. I didn't want to know what other ways meant. I also did. We took it to my parents. Mom sat at the kitchen table, hands wrapped around a mug like it could keep the past from cooling. Dad listened with his builder's frown, the one he wears for beams that might not hold. When the audio finished, he ran a hand over his jaw. That can't be what it sounds like. Ken, Mom said softly. It's her voice. But a plan? Dad said. Your sister? For money? Mom looked down at the mug. Families do strange things around wills. Dad shook his head. Not our family. My phone buzzed. A message from a bridesmaid. Did you see Olivia's story? I opened Instagram. Olivia had posted a screenshot of an email from a planner and a caption, "When venues hike prices for special people, some of us get creative nail polish light skin tone, then a selfie, eyes bright, chin tilted, some of us didn't get lake cabins. We got grit." Dad stared out the window. She needs to come here. We need to talk. Olivia came. She came with highlighter on her cheekbones and a shrug that had lived on her shoulders since we were teenagers. Mom put out lemon bars, that's what she does. Olivia sat. She said, "This is a misunderstanding." She said it 3 times, like if she arranged the syllables in different patterns, the microphones would change their minds. "We heard you," I said. "You and someone you brought. You asked her to stage something with my husband. Your husband was never in danger," she shot back. "Please. He's not reckless." I knew he wouldn't. "That's not a defense," Daniel said quietly. Olivia's eyes flicked to him. "You're just uncomfortable because you got attention." "That's not it," I said. Olivia leaned forward. "Fine. Did a friend flirt?" "Yes. We joke. It's content. People love drama. It gets clicks. You took it literal." "And the part about other ways?" Dad asked, voice careful. "Figure of speech," she said. "You all need to relax." Mom's eyes looked older than yesterday. "You used our daughter's wedding as a set," she said. "You invited a person to make problems for her and filmed it. And for what? A cabin?" Olivia stared at the lemon bars. "Everything comes easy to some people." I could feel the air thin. The kitchen that had always felt like a winter blanket now felt like a room waiting for a verdict. "We're going to ask the videographer for the uncut audio," Daniel said. "And the coordinator for logs. Who checked in, who got vendor passes. We'll do it carefully. We won't post. We'll document." Olivia stood. "Document what? That I said dumb things into a microphone? Nobody cares. People post worse." "Not the bank," Dad said. "Not when money is involved." Her eyes flashed. "There she is," she said, pointing at me. "Little Mrs. Cabin and her accountant husband." "Daniel isn't an accountant," I said. "And this isn't about a cabin. It's about a line." She left without taking a lemon bar. That night, my mother texted from the living room where she keeps photo albums, "You two okay?" I stared at a picture of Olivia and me in matching 4th of July t-shirts with sticky popsicles. I wrote, "We're okay. Just tired." I didn't write, "I don't know how to get my sister back."
Subscribe to the channel and write in the comments which city you are from.
If there's anything the last year taught me, it's that paper tells stories people won't. The coordinator's assistant, tough as a hockey coach and twice as organized, sent over the vendor list, the contact sheet, and the entry log. 2 names stood out that weren't on the original contracts, Ash and Kara, content. Ash matched the voice we heard in the audio, smoky, confident, fond of stage directions. Kara, content, matched the blowout. The assistant also sent one more thing, a clip from the planner's own phone, recorded to test lighting near the photo wall. The image wasn't special, just framed garlands and a lamp, but the mic, by luck, caught a soft line in the corridor. If the hallway hug fails, he runs. Then we used the panic angle, Olivia whispered. What panic? Ash murmured. Fire alarm tease. Not pulling it. Just a nudge. People scare easily. I pressed pause, then play, then pause. Nobody planned to pull anything. Nobody hurt anyone. And yet the intent, the willingness to shake a room on purpose, sat there, humming. We filed everything. We didn't post it. We asked for copies of camera cards and signed a receipt for the hard drive. Daniel labeled folders with dates like a librarian with a label maker. We called a friend who knows policy at a streaming platform and asked how to preserve metadata. We started a private timeline, not to go viral but to stay sane. Meanwhile, Olivia's online tone softened outwardly. Gone were the jabs about cabins, in came captions about family first. But every caption, every square, felt like a performance. Comments seeped through from her friends. You were right, people are show-offs. Some of us work 2 jobs while others get gifted a view. I didn't reply. I also didn't mute. I wanted to know if language turned into action. One afternoon, a month after the wedding, Daniel texted from home, drives here. The raw stock from the videographer had arrived. I left my desk, took the blue line back to our apartment, and sat beside him on the couch like we were about to watch a slow documentary about our own lives. We learned quickly, cameras hear more than you think. DJ shoutouts carry. Caterers swap recipes. The officiant clears her throat like a violinist tuning a string. And siblings, sisters, test the air with words they believe will dissolve into music. There were 2 new bits we hadn't heard. From behind the dessert table, Olivia to Kara, if it doesn't work today, we regroup. She's soft in the days after big things. Doubt creeps. We'll leave hints where she can find them. Kara, like? Olivia, a receipt, a scarf. He's tidy, it'll stand out. From near the bar, Olivia to Ash, worst case, we wait. Couples crumble after the party. I can say I saw him and she stopped. I've said enough. Daniel hit pause and stared at the progress bar like it was a horizon line. I think she considered planting things, he said. Props. Or was just talking, I said. It sounded weak. We could have confronted her again with this, but repeating the same loop felt pointless. So we did something else. We called a lawyer, not to sue, not yet, to ask how to protect a house up north from becoming a story. He advised documented boundaries, an email to Olivia clarifying that the cabin was off limits without us present, a note to our parents asking them not to loan keys, a line in the shared family calendar for days we'd be up there, not as theater but as fact. We wrote the email together. It was 3 paragraphs and free of adjectives. Olivia didn't reply. She posted a lake photo from a different shore that night with the caption, "You can't own water." The next morning, a bridesmaid texted me a screen recording, Olivia on Snapchat, lit by the blue glow of late night, saying, "Shout out to everyone who has to watch people get what they didn't earn. We see you. We are you. Stay patient, life circles back." Then an emoji of a clock. I held the phone like it might burn through my hand. I wanted to call her. I wanted to say, this isn't me versus you. This is you versus something you keep feeding. Instead, I sent her a simple message, lunch? 3 dots. Then nothing. Work helped. Schedules help. You can't spiral when spreadsheets need you. But the mind loops anyway, and loops tend to loop back to places with pine needles on the floor. We planned a small weekend at the cabin, us, my parents, one of Daniel's friends who knows how to fix the canoe. We told Olivia, directly and plainly, that we'd be away and wouldn't be reachable except by the landline. Daniel set up motion lights, Dad stocked the shed, Mom packed chili like only Minnesota mothers do. The night before we left, Daniel decided to try building a clean sequence from the raw audio, no visuals, just the mic near the head table. He wanted to hear if there was any mention of dates, names, or a plan beyond winks. He put on headphones. I made tea. He lifted one cushion on the couch like he'd lost something. What? I asked. He held up a small square of silk. Not mine. Pale sea green, perfume faint but expensive. I stared at it. He stared at me staring. We hadn't had guests since the wedding. I wanted not to flinch. I wanted to be the woman who laughs and says, probably stuck to a blazer at the reception. Instead, I felt the careful shelf inside me wobble. I handed it to him. He put it in his zip bag like evidence and labeled it with the date. We listened to the head table mic. What we heard wasn't a confession. It was worse, in a way, practice. Lines delivered like a coach rehearsing plays. Kara, if he moves, I'll adjust, make it look like I tripped. Olivia, and if he doesn't? Ash, then you pivot to her. Signal that something's off. Seed the idea. Girls know. The ice in my tea clinked. Daniel scribbled on a legal pad, seed, idea, props, timing. We were not detectives. We were 2 people cataloging how a good thing was spoken about. We left at dawn, highway quiet, sky pink. At the cabin, the lake was the exact silver of the scarf. I thought of Olivia's caption, "You can't own water." No, you can't. But you can share it. You can protect the dock. You can invite and you can also lock. Dad and Daniel put the canoe in. Mom and I sat on the steps and watched loons. My phone stayed inside on the counter. We made a rule, no socials for 2 days. On Saturday night, the rule broke itself. Daniel's phone buzzed on the mantel. He glanced by habit. It was a message from the videographer, forgot to include an audio slate, there's also a lav in your sister's bouquet. Do you want that? I looked at him. He looked at me. It's rude, I said. Right? He nodded. Super rude. We said we'd delete it after we confirmed nothing crucial was on it. We told ourselves this was about the record, not the thrill of knowing. We clicked. The bouquet mic carried a soft sound of flowers brushing lace and the low burr of the tent generators. Then Olivia's whisper, right before her toast, "If this speech works, we won't need the hallway." Kara's whisper back, "But if the hallway works, we won't need the speech." Then Olivia's toast, pretty, practiced, perfect. People clapped. Mom wiped at her eyes. I'm glad she did. It gave her an alibi with herself. She had loved that toast. So had I. When it ended, Olivia descended the little steps, past the head table, and the laugh caught 4 last words as she exhaled, one way or another. We turned off the cabin lamp early, not because we were tired but because we weren't ready to talk under bright light. Lying in the dark, I realized something uncomplicated. Even if no law had been broken, a sacrament had been treated like a stage. A promise had been given hecklers. On Sunday night, the storm came in, thunder big enough to shake the glass over the fireplace photograph, rain drumming as if the roof were a snare. The power blinked, then came back. We were small under it, and it felt right to be small. After it passed, Daniel checked his phone for downline advisories and saw a dozen missed calls from an unknown number and 1 message from a friend. "Are you okay? See Olivia's TikTok?" We didn't have TikTok. We watched on the friend's screen recording. Olivia, hair damp, spoke into her camera by the glow of a rain-gloss streetlight. Some people will edit your life to make you the villain in their movie. Don't let them. Stay loud. The comments were hearts and flames. The caption read, "Stay patient. Life circles back." Leaks rarely contain secrets, they contain angles. The story that spread wasn't about lures or props or one way or another. It was about a jealous sister being silenced by a cabin couple. The narrative worked because it matched what people already believed about envy and inheritance, that someone with less will always howl, and someone with more will call it noise. I didn't want to feed this stream, so I didn't post. I did, however, call Olivia. Straight to voicemail. I texted, "We have the audio. It's worse than you think. Please meet." She replied later, "Stop harassing me." We kept collecting normal. We returned to work. We cooked dinner. Daniel cut the bouquet file into a time-stamped note for our records and titled it, Toast_pre. He said the name with a kind of steady sadness I hadn't heard in him before. Around then, the wedding photographer sent a proofing gallery, thousands of stills, every angle of a day that now felt like a stage we'd rented. Picture by picture, the gallery told a simpler story: my mother's hands fastening my buttons, my dad wiping his glasses, Daniel laughing at something my uncle said about the canoe. Olivia, in most frames, looked like my sister. Because she is. We sent selections. We closed the browser. Daniel went to the gym. I scrolled, finally, through comments under Olivia's posts. One demanded, "Tell the real story about your brother-in-law." Another wrote, "Expose them." Olivia didn't correct them. She didn't say he didn't do anything. She dropped a heart and moved on. That was the first time I said aloud, "She wants the audience more than she wants me." The second time came a week later, when the videographer's highlight cut arrived. It was beautiful, river gold, vows scored to piano, grandparents swaying. Daniel hit pause, then dug into the drive again. "There's one more folder I didn't open," he said, almost sheepishly. DJ_booth_bed channel. He clicked. At first, it was all bass, thick lines, nothing human. Then between songs, the DJ's mic picked up chatter at the edge of the booth. A male voice, Ash, said, "If he doesn't go for it tonight, we'll stage something next week. I know a friend with a cabin nearby." We run into the couple, then, improv. Olivia's voice, "Just don't risk anyone's safety. We're not monsters." Ash, obviously. A scare, not a scene. I pressed my palm to the couch. A scare. Daniel muted the speakers and looked at me. "Do we warn venues? Like, do we tell them not to let them in?" We can't label them as threats, I said, even as a quiet part of me wanted to. So we drew a line we could defend. We told our families, calmly and formally, that if Olivia arrived anywhere we were staying without our invitation, we would leave. We copied our parents, not to triangulate but to document. Mom wrote back, "We love you both. Please be kind." Dad wrote, "Understood." Olivia posted a lake photo from a different bay. Some people confuse kindness with weakness. In the middle of all this, an email arrived from the videographer with the subject, "B-roll update, audio waiver." Inside, a short paragraph reminding clients that ambient voices could be captured and that, by attending, guests consented to being recorded in shared spaces. It ended with, "If any segment is sensitive, let us know, before we deliver the final." It felt like a door offered after we'd already walked through, down 3 hallways, into a room we hadn't known existed. We considered asking him to cut the whispers. Then we decided not to. Editing them out would only make us question our own memory later, when nostalgia softened the facts. Sometimes you need the hard edges to keep the shape honest. August tipped into September, and with it came quieter air. The algorithm found new dramas to feed. Olivia's posts eased back into brunches and nail colors. Ash vanished from her tags. Kara pivoted to yoga retreats. If not for the hard drive on our shelf, I might have convinced myself we'd overreacted. Then the phone rang. A detective from our county asked to clarify a few things. Someone, he wouldn't say who, had filed a civil complaint about concerted interference in a family event. Had we, he asked, received any messages that suggested staging? Any records? We asked to meet. We brought a copy of the drive and our timeline. We asked, a dozen times, whether we were starting something that would take on a life of its own. He said, "I can't advise you. I can only note." He noted. He listened to Bouquet Lav and DJ Booth bass captures and to the head table mic. He wrote down props, seed idea, panic angle, and one way or another. He asked if anyone had ever suggested doing something that could harm anyone. We said no. He nodded. That matters. He also asked a question we hadn't expected. Did anyone try to reach you after the wedding with invitations that seemed too convenient? Daniel told him about a message from an unknown account suggesting a double date at a supper club near a lake. The detective wrote it down. "If you still have it," he said, screenshot with the header. "Don't reply." We left his office feeling like we had taken a heavy box and set it on a shelf labeled pending. That night, Olivia texted me for the first time in weeks, "You went to the police?" I wrote back, "We answered questions." She replied, "You always were a teacher's pet." Mom called, near tears. "I love both of you," she said. "It's gone too far." Dad spoke more plainly. "There will be a hearing," he said. "Someone brought a complaint. We can't stop the machine now." He didn't say who that someone was. He didn't have to. I looked at Daniel. He looked at the curtains. We both felt tired. A week later, an email landed, notice of preliminary hearing. It was not dramatic, it was procedural. It listed dates and times and the right to bring representation. It also listed the area of focus, intentional deception to induce a marital separation for financial gain. Dry words for a wet thing. We did not post it. We did not call reporters. We told our parents the date, we told the detective we'd attend, and we put the letter under a magnet on the fridge next to our menu plan for the week. That night, Olivia's accounts went dark. No stories. No squares. A friend texted me, "Did she move?" Another wrote, "Heard she's off the grid." Someone else said they saw her at a gas station near Brainerd. Rumors do what rumors do, they multiply. I called her. Straight to voicemail. I left a message, "Liv, please call me. We're still sisters." The hearing was quiet. These things usually are. A room with acoustic tiles, someone fiddling with a projector, a printer that hums. We answered questions. We stuck to facts. We did not embellish. We did not speculate about motives beyond the words the mics caught. When asked about harm, we said, no one was harmed. When asked about fear, we said, we were cautious. That was true. There are no verdicts in preliminary hearings, only doors that open or close to future rooms. Ours open to continued investigation. It means the story keeps moving without asking if you want to go along. We went back to work. The cabin turned red along the shoreline. We raked leaves into friendly piles. We bought a thermal carafe because the mornings grew colder. People ask sometimes, friends who'd heard pieces, cousins who love tidbits, are you scared of what she might do next? The honest answer is simpler than fear. I'm sad. I'm sad the room where we got ready, where Mom zipped my dress and Dad ironed his tie, now shares a shelf with waveforms of whispers. I'm sad that a day that promised our families would fuse instead revealed a seam. I am also proud. I'm proud we didn't go loud. We didn't weaponize a feed or call up a channel to tell on someone we once shared bunk beds with. We kept receipts. We used the same tools we use for taxes and home projects, labels, dates, notes no one wants to read but that, in the end, held us up. A month after the hearing, the videographer mailed a small wooden box with a USB engraved with our initials and the date. Inside was a note, "Your highlight, finalized." I removed the head table whispers from the public cut. You have everything else in the archive. Keep what you need. Live what you want. We watched that highlight on a Sunday afternoon with the curtains open and the sound just high enough to hear the river. It showed Mom's hands, Dad's glasses, the look on Daniel's face when I said I do. It did not show my sister's plan, my sister's hurt, my sister's envy in a world that claps for spectacle. It did not show a scarf in a zip bag or a folder named DJ_booth_bed channel. It showed us. The S that existed before microphones found the seam. The S that still exists after. As for Olivia, there is a case open. There is a calendar date we cannot circle with a heart. There are texts I send that hang in the blue ether and do not return. The last thing she posted, before she disappeared from her own feed, was a photo of a lake at sundown, captioned, "Everyone wants the horizon. Few want the paddle." I keep thinking of that line. Paddling is work and rhythm and a willingness to feel small water carry you anyway. Our cabin has 2 oars. One belongs to us. The other always will be out for the person who taught me to build blanket forts and steal cookies and make a joke before I cried. If she walks down our dock someday, we will hear her shoes on the boards, and the microphones will be off, and that will be enough.
Subscribe to the channel and write in the comments which city you are from.